Welcome to the Black Box Experiment. Creative people with a TV idea have 1 month of shows in front of a live audience to go from just a concept to actual TV pilot. This is that pilot. Is it ready for takeoff, or will it crash and burn? Tonight, comedian Eddie Bannon, with the help of some friends, performs his script, No One You'd Remember. Chapter 1. We pull back on a children's crayon drawing of a house on a hill overlooking a village and a hospital.
Once upon a time, in a little village in the middle of nowhere, lived the woman who never slept. Agnes Webb's father had left her all alone, and her only friends were the coma patients in the hospital, where she worked as a cleaner, who did nothing but sleep. She would clean and listen and tell them stories, and Agnes would have been content to let things stay that way forever. But something had changed recently. Patients were waking up, coming out of their comas in droves, and it wasn't long before people started taking notice of this little country hospital. Change was coming, and Agnes didn't like that one little bit.
External hospital lawn, morning. A crowd of people applaud.
If you could help me welcome the new head of medicine, Dr. Julian Carmody.
Thank you, Governor O'Shea. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have devoted my life to coma patients, and I can only hope that my meager expertise can add to the success and continuing fame of this truly miraculous hospital. In my book, Sometimes They Just Wake Up,
A door bursts open.
What the bloody hell? What is all this? There's people trying to sleep in here. Move! Move! Move!
The door slams shut.
I'm dreadfully sorry, Dr. Carmody.
Oh, think nothing of it, Governor. I thought for a moment we had another awakening on our hands.
There is some embarrassed laughter from the crowd.
What say we take a tour of my new ward?
The governors and doctors enter the hospital. At the door, Governor O'Shea turns to another governor.
That's it. I don't care who her father was. She's out of here. Agnes Webb has had her last little explosion in this hospital.
Agnes exits the hospital and gets on her old black bone rattler bike. She has J-cloths and cleaning products in her carrier basket. She cycles towards town, muttering and complaining to herself all the way.
Coming into my hospital, bloody meager expertise is right.
Paddy's Bookies, morning. Agnes, head down, walks into the corner of the shop and starts scribbling away on a betting slip with her back to the counter. Paddy Murtaugh, early 40s, fit. The owner stands behind the counter gazing at Agnes. Watching him is his assistant Mary, early 20s, attractive and visibly pregnant. She eats something pickled out of a jar.
You're doing it again, Packy.
What, the gazing at Agnes Webb thing that everyone finds so disconcerting?
I don't get the attraction.
Do you not?
Look, don't take this the wrong way or nothing, but, well, you're youngish, wealthy-ish, witty-ish. You're a pretty ishy fella all round, and you've never looked at me that way, even before I was pregnant. But every time Agnes Webb comes in, you turn into a dreamy schoolboy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's very cute, but...
What do you see when you look at her?
Honestly, the mad old woman who lives on the hill.
Yeah, but you should have seen her when she was younger.
What was she like back then?
Exactly the same.
Agnes arrives at the counter and hands her betting slip to Mary. Packy looks down, studying a form guide. Agnes tries not to glance his way.
Here's me bets, Mrs. Up the Duff. Make sure what's-his-face gets them.
New ribbon, Agnes. Blue suits you, brings out your eyes.
It's not... Tell him it's not new. I got it yesterday. And if I wanted me eyes brought out, I pay someone to smack me in the back of the head with a hammer.
Agnes mutters something to herself as she leaves. The door slams shut.
Mary, why do you think Agnes comes in here every Saturday?
To put mad bets on?
Have you ever checked to see if her mad bets ever come up?
Of course not, they're just silly. It'll rain for 5 hours on Sunday. The Pope will catch a cold on Tuesday. There'll be an elephant on the English news tonight. She doesn't even put money on them.
Right, Mary, what I'm about to tell you stays between you and me, right?
Of course, bookies honour.
I'm serious, Mary.
I promise.
I've been laying off Agnes's mad bets for 20 years with a guy in the city. This is how much money is in her account.
Jesus, Mary and Holy Saint God!
This is between you and me, Mary. If anyone, especially Agnes, finds out, you're out of here, right?
Agnes doesn't know you make money off her bets?
Doesn't know a thing about it.
But that's against the rules, isn't it? Making money off someone else's bets?
It's her money. I took out the $50 I started the account with years ago. If I just wanted to make money, I'd have left this town years ago.
So when are you going to give it to her?
Whenever she needs it.
Packy, that's mental. Look how much money!
Forget the money, Mary. The point is, there's something special about Agnes Webb, and I seem to be the only one around here who can see it.
Boardroom day. A group of governors and doctors are arguing around a table. Dr. Carmody stands up angrily and cuts through the guff.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, but Angus Webb stays.
He storms out of the room, leaving a startled group.
Dr. Watson, you and Dr. Carmody haven't been here that long, so you don't know the woman very well. What you saw this morning was merely the tip of the iceberg. Surely you can convince Dr. Carmody that a mad cleaning lady doesn't fit the picture.
What if the woman was confined to cleaning the coma ward? We could juggle the visiting hours so she needn't encounter anyone but the coma victims themselves. We can safely assume that even Agnes Webb could not insult them.
I'm sorry, but I really must object.
That's enough, Joe. Do you think you could get him to agree to that?
I could try.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very, very much.
Dr. Carmody's office, day. Dr. Watson joins Dr. Carmody, who is looking out the window.
Well?
Hook, line and sinker. Agnes stays. You think she might have something to do with the awakenings?
Of course not. Just needed to let O'Shea know who's boss. Anyway, Agnes might be useful to have around. Add a touch of colour, you know. And with a bit of the old Carmody charm, she'll be running to me with every piece of hospital gossip fit to print.
So why do you think that people are so quick to recover here?
The water, the scenery, coincidence? You know, the drill, make them look comfortable, schmooze the people who pay the bills, and as the book says, sometimes they just wake up and we take the credit.
Outside, evening. A bike travels at speed.
Whoa. Cool your jets, Agnes. You'll kill yourself going that fast. A bit early in the evening to be off work.
Sorry, Bill. Things happening in the old ward. I need to talk to the old man.
Well, give him my best.
Agnes rides off. Hospital coma ward, evening. Agnes enters the ward and sits by the bed of an old man.
Busy day today. Nearly got done by old Bill on the way. He says hello. Even though I don't think he really believes you are who I say you are. They've got themselves a famous doctor. Carmody? Ever heard of him? Shifted his entire practice here over from Harley Street. There's half the beds in the new ward already filled. There's a smell of money off him, you know. Very easy on the ears too. Talk's a good game. But as Mr. Shut Up used to say, if you want to say something, say nothing. I better be off. I'm going to give him the old injured sparrow routine. Lay it on thick. See if he bites. You just relax. Just relax and take it easy. I'll have everything ready for you when you wake up, Dad.
Dr. Carmody's office, morning. The door opens.
What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be in yet. I have the office to clean.
Mrs. Webb, we weren't properly introduced. I'm Dr. Carmody.
I know who you are.
Quite a show this morning.
I ain't apologising. Mr. Just Around the Corner is disturbing the sleepers.
Of course not. You were looking out for the patients. More of that, I say.
Agnes strains to pick up a waste paper bin.
Back problems, Mrs. Webb.
Yeah. Me hypochondria is acting up again.
Eh?
I suffer terrible with it. Doctor Not to Worry used to give me special pills, but ever since he left, I get jip all the time.
What were these pills called?
Placebos. Yeah. You can't get them at the chemist, though.
Oh, my dear woman, you're in luck. A patient of mine used to suffer from this exact same affliction, a sort of roving, aching, stabbing pain, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly it, yes.
Yes, I think I still have some of her... Ah, yes, here they are.
Carmody pulls out a small bottle of pills from his drawer and gives them to Agnes.
No. They were blue. Doctor Not to Worry told me only take the blue ones.
These are extra strength placebos. Better than the blue ones. 1 tablet a week should be enough.
And how much is this going to cost me?
Oh, Mrs. Webb, I wouldn't dream of it. Think of it as a perk of your new job.
What new job?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Webb. I thought you knew. As of next week, you are going to work exclusively in the new coma ward.
Well, no one told me any of this.
It was decided at a meeting of the board today. Tell me, Mrs. Webb, Governor O'Shea, what is it you call him, Mr. Just Around the Corner?
Yeah, him and bad news. Always just around the corner.
Yes, well, you see, did you know he wanted to let you go after your little outburst this morning?
He can't sack me. I was just sticking up for the people in the beds.
Of course you were. See, what pen pushers like O'Shea can't understand, but you're right, he can't let you go, not now that you're working for me.
Oh, you outsmarted him, didn't you? Your first day on the job and you outsmarted him. Just like off the telly.
Yes, just like off the telly.
Good man yourself, Dr. Carmody.
Oh, please, Doctor will be fine.
Well, thanks for the pills and sticking up for me, Doctor.
Think nothing of it. Us, professionals have got to watch each other's back. Watch out for the patients. Problem is, I don't know who's who or what's what around here yet. What I really need is someone on the ground. Someone who can be my eyes and, ears?
A stoolie. I could do that.
Oh, Mrs. Webb, I couldn't ask you, no.
Don't you worry about a thing, Doctor. There's nothing happens in this hospital that I don't get wind of first. And when I know, you'll know.
Agnes Webb, you're a marvel. Between you and me, we'll make this hospital the standard by all which hospitals will be judged. Now, I'd better be off. Let you get on with your duties.
Dr. Carmody leaves.
Dr. Smarmity, Dr. Smarmity. The old ladies in London must have lapped you up. Oh, just call me Doctor. Jesus Christ, I need a shower.
Life goes on in the coma ward. Agnes settles down to her job as a night cleaner. Dr. Carmody enjoys his position as figurehead, leaving Watson to look after the day-to-day running of the ward. Inside the hospital at night, Dr. Watson comes out of her office. She spots Agnes whispering to a young boy in one of the beds. Dr. Watson walks into the ward as Agnes stands up and makes to leave.
It's Agnes, isn't it? What are you doing here at this hour of the night?
What are you doing here at this hour of the night?
I'm a doctor.
I'm a cleaner.
It's pretty late.
Never too late to be a cleaner. I work nights.
Sleep well during the day?
I don't sleep.
Well, you must sleep sometimes.
Shows what you know.
Watson checks on the boy.
What's it like being Carmody's shadow then?
If it's what you want, it's a pretty good thing to be, don't you think?
So what's his story?
Car crash 2 years ago. Mother and 2 brothers killed. Just himself and his sister survived. His father flies in from the US every month.
Why doesn't he have him in a hospital in America?
He did, but he can afford to send him to the best. People wake up around here, don't you know, and now with Dr. Carmody in charge.
Sounds financial. Well, I've got to get to the offices to do yet. Can't be wasting time as such an important doctor's shadow.
Are you always this ill-tempered?
I'm nice behind people's backs. Dr. Shadow.
PACKY'S bookies, morning. Dr. Watson is writing her bets while Mary eyes her from behind the counter. She comes up to place the bets.
You're one of the coma doctors up at the hospital, aren't you?
That's right, Karen Watson.
I'm Mary Moynihan. Pleased to meet you. So, have you figured out why people keep waking up all the time?
No, not yet.
Well, I can tell you, if you want, boredom. They wake up to escape the boredom of even being unconscious in this town. I only got pregnant so people would have something new to talk about for a while.
How long have you been pregnant?
Forever. I keep giving different clues about who the father is, keeps the gossips on their toes. They've narrowed it down to about 15 men at this stage. Have you met Agnes Webb yet? She's a cleaner up at the hospital. She's the one they usually talk about, poor soul.
Yes,
And she's a bit mad. Nice enough, but mad as a bag of ferrets. Lives by herself on the hill, doesn't care. No one knows much about her, so the old biddies fill in the blanks. It seems her father used to be a big wig up at the hospital, then he disappeared, ran away with a rich patient or something. Anyway, Agnes went a bit loopy after that. She reckons he lives somewhere in the hospital. They say she never sleeps. She hasn't closed her eyes since her mother...
Hello, Dr. Watson. Packy Murtha. I see you've met Mary. As you can see, she hates gossips, but she loves gossiping.
I didn't say anything. Anyway, it's not gossip if it's true.
And how do you know it's true, Mary?
Well, of course it's true. Everyone says.
Yeah, I must apologise, Doctor. It's the pregnancy talking. Her hormones get hold of her mouth sometimes.
He's right. I'm usually quiet as a mouse, but since I got pregnant, you can't shut me up. My dad says I'm talking for 2 now. You're a doctor. Is that normal?
Mary, remember you asked me to tell you if you started rabbiting on?
Well, then I'd better go make myself a cup of tea.
Nice kid. Pregnancy really agrees with her.
So what is the story with Agnes?
Now, why would you be interested in Agnes?
She gave me a nickname.
Ah, that was quick. You must have made quite an impression. Truth is, no one really knows the Agnes story except Agnes. Word is, the governors want to get rid of her.
Oh, they've already tried and failed. Seems Agnes has friends in high places.
Well, that's good news. Do you mind me asking you what your nickname is?
Dr. Shadow. What's yours?
Yeah, she hasn't figured that out yet.
Watson smiles and leaves the shop. Hospital, morning. A large car pulls up outside the hospital and Mr. Bradbury, a larger-than-life, blustering American, gets out, followed by Alicia, a young girl. Dr. Carmody is at the steps to welcome them.
Mr. Bradbury, nice to see you again. How was the trip?
As usual, the food was terrible, the seats were cramped, the films were old, but if God wanted us to enjoy flying, he'd let Pan Am fly direct to Ireland, am I right?
Yes, yes.
How's my son?
Still the same, I'm afraid.
I could buy Still the Same anywhere. I'm paying well over the sticker price here, Carmody. I don't need Still the Same.
Of course, Mr. Bradbury. Let's go in and see what we can see.
Inside the hospital ward, night. Agnes sits beside Bradbury's son.
Saw your father yesterday. Came to visit you, did he? Americans seem bigger in real life. You're nearly finished your dream story, I think. He's the Vader, isn't he? Very intimidating. But you're ready. You're a Jedi now. He doesn't know it, but he needs you too. Time to leave the farm. Leave the farm and fight the Empire.
Agnes gets up and walks out of the ward. Later that night, Agnes arrives on the ward and leaves the light off.
Evening all, don't get up. It's only me.
She walks by each bed, addressing each person as she goes.
Elwood, Soldier Boy, Woodstock.
Agnes sets about cleaning the ward, talking as she goes. In the corner, Bradbury's son watches her from the shadows.
Jesus, everyone's very quiet this evening, or is someone just... Oh. Well, I think it's time Agnes had herself a cup of coffee.
Agnes makes a phone call.
Shadow, tell your boss he has another feather in his cap. Nothing like coffee to kick the old grey matter into gear. What about yourself, little mister? I'm not here. How do you like your coffee? Milk and 2 carrots, I shouldn't think?
You can't have carrots and coffee?
Just milk and sugar then. And for your information, you can have carrots in coffee, they just don't do much for the flavour.
Where is this place?
It's a place for sleepers to sleep.
So what was I doing here?
Sleeping.
Why don't they just wake up?
Not ready. The story's unfinished yet.
What stories?
Well, now and again the truth gets too bright to look at, and you have to close your eyes to stop it hurting. But the truth doesn't like the dark. It needs to get out. So you wrap it in a dream story. And once you get to the end...
What?
Then you wake up.
Did I have a dream story?
Oh, yours was great. Full of Wookiees and Yodas and lightsabers.
Now that's Star Wars, it's a movie.
I don't do movies.
And how do you know about the Wookiees and everything?
You made the story yours. You were sleeping and I just listened and guided you through.
Oh, like Obi-Wan.
Was that who I was?
Dr. Watson walks in.
Hello, Luke.
Coma ward morning. Agnes comes into the coma ward. Governor O'Shea is sitting behind the nurse's desk, waiting for her.
Agnes Webb, untouchable with friends and high places. Well, your luck's just run out, Agnes, 'cause Carmody's moving on. That's right, Bradbury's got him a big hospital gig in the States, which means I've got my hospital back, and you're out. And not just you either. Bills have to be paid. Some of your little friends here, they can't keep up the rent, they're out too. First one to go, that old man in bed 7 you're so fond of. I know a nice little out-of-the-way geriatric unit where he can end his days.
You can't do that.
Yep, signed the paper this morning.
But he's my...
He's what? Your father? Don't be ridiculous. I remember your father, the great Dr. Webb, friend to the working man. And that's not him. Everyone knows your father ran away years ago, lost his mind and abandoned a 13-year-old girl to the charity of this hospital. You may as well say goodbyes now, Agnes.
Carmody's office, night. Carmody and Watson are talking as Agnes bursts in.
Is it true? Are you going to America?
Mrs. Webb, calm down. It was always on the cards that I might be called
Shut up.
away.
Shut up, Smarmity. I wasn't talking to you. You, Shadow. Are you just going to leave these people to O'Shea and his cronies? Don't you care about them? Don't you care whether they wake up or not?
There are other people who need...
I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about these people. If you go, half of them get thrown out. Sent to strange places where nobody listens to them. What chance do they have then?
I'm sorry, Agnes.
Agnes stares at Watson for a long second, ignoring Carmody's offer, and leaves, slamming the door behind her. Coma ward night. Agnes is taking an old man out of bed 7. She puts him in a wheelchair.
If only you'd wake up and tell them who you are. I'm taking you home. You can sleep in your old room like the old days. Just me and you and no one else.
Agnes wheels the chair out through the ward into the village. Agnes struggles to push the chair up the hill to a house. Flashing headlights appear behind her. Agnes puts the brakes on and waits as the van slows down. To her surprise, it's Packy. He winds down the window.
Agnes Webb, what are you doing at this hour of the morning? You'll catch your death. Hop in and I'll give you a lift.
I'm not going back to the hospital.
Well, I can see that. We can put the wheelchair in the back and your dad can sit up the front.
Agnes is wary but does it anyway. They drive to Agnes's house in silence and put the old man to bed. Packy goes to leave, but Agnes stops him.
They were going to send him away. He built that place, and they're just going to abandon him. I couldn't let them do it. Would you like a cup of tea or something?
You know, that's the first question you've ever asked me in 20 years. Yes, I'd love a cup of tea.
Bedroom night. Packy and Agnes are seated, drinking tea beside the old man in bed.
My mother used to call your dad sir all the time. Pass him in the street. It'd be evening sir, morning sir, drove him mad. She'd put...
Mister just around the corner said he's not my father. You remember my father. That's him, isn't it?
Jesus, 2 questions into one night. Must be a full moon.
That's not an answer.
Well, if you say it's him, then it's him.
Is it him or not?
Well, you're the only one who can answer that question, Agnes.
Would I have gone to all this trouble, kidnapping it all, if it wasn't?
Well, that's not an answer. Is that man your father?
No.
Coma ward night. Police sirens blare.
What's going on?
They're off to arrest Agnes. O'Shea reckons she kidnapped one of the patients. He's been waiting for this for years. He'll have her in the loony bin before this is over.
He can't do that. She may be a bit eccentric, but she's not psychotic.
What do you care? You're off to America in a few weeks. This'll all be a funny story at a New York cocktail party.
Agnes's house at night. Agnes and Packy sit beside the old man.
Look, Agnes, maybe no one noticed I'm gone yet. If we bring him back now, everything will be all right.
No, that's not the thing. It's my fault he's still asleep.
He's in a coma. You can't blame yourself for someone being in a coma.
You don't understand. I'm the reason people wake up in the hospital. They talk to me.
Who talked to you? The coma people?
They tell me their names. They tell me their dream stories. And all I have to do is listen. It's hard to explain. I put their dreams into words and make a story out of it. Help them find a happy ending so they don't have to be asleep anymore. But I didn't do that with him. I just let myself see what I wanted to see, and now things have gone so far. I didn't even ask him his name.
Who else knows?
Dad knew. He said it was a gift. Said not to tell anyone else. Said they wouldn't understand.
And what about the people when they wake up? Have they kept your secret all this time too?
They don't remember. Now and again, one of them might look at me as if I was someone they remembered, but usually... And now we can't even stay in the hospital because Carmody and Watson are going and everyone has to pay.
So if there was money, he could stay.
It's all they're interested in.
Packy takes out a cheque and hands it to Agnes.
What's this?
You haven't collected your winnings for 20 years, Agnes.
But I only came into your shop...
People come into the shop to get lucky.
That'd be enough to keep everyone.
Yeah, you could build your own ward with that kind of money, but it's not going to do you much good if you're in jail.
Well, we better get him back to the hospital. Quick, sharp then.
Police cars arrive. Agnes goes to the curtains as the doorbell rings.
It's O'Shea. He's brought the police.
Agnes and Packy go to the door together.
Patty Murtaugh, I thought that was your van.
What can we do for you, Bill?
I'm investigating a missing person.
Where's your father, Agnes?
My father left years ago.
You know what I mean. Where's the patient from bed 7?
Governor O'Shea believes Agnes might have some information about a patient who went missing earlier this evening. May we come in?
Do you have a warrant?
I don't want to search the place, Packy. I just want to ask Agnes some questions and get in out of the rain.
Don't come the stupid sergeant with me, Bill. You can't come in without just cause, and being wet doesn't fall into that category.
You can come in, officer.
But, Agnes...
Packy, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but it's my house. Come in, lads.
O'Shea eagerly tries to get in.
Not you. Just the policeman.
But I'm...
You're not welcome here.
I wonder, Mr. O'Shea, if you wouldn't mind waiting.
But I'm the one... It's raining. Everyone turns to see Dr. Watson pulling up behind the police car.
What's she doing here?
Packy shrugs and Watson hurries to the front door.
What's all this commotion, Packy? I thought you said Agnes's house was quiet. What are the police doing here?
And who exactly might you be?
I'm Dr. Watson. I'm here to collect a patient of mine who went missing earlier.
Governor O'Shea maintains the patient was kidnapped by Agnes here.
Kidnapped? No. Agnes followed the man out of the hospital. There was no one else around when he woke up, and so she left a note on his pillow and went after him. Good thing she was around.
Where do you fit into all of this, Packy?
He phoned me.
We're all well aware Packy has a mouth. Packy?
I found Agnes wheeling this guy around in the rain and gave them a lift home. Just being a good neighbour.
Hold on. Are you asking me to believe that this man just walked out of his own accord?
Sometimes they just wake up.
Am I the only one here who can see through this little charade? Can't you see they're lying? Trying to cover up the kidnapping?
No one else seems to think a kidnapping took place but you, Mr. O'Shea. We have better things to do than to be running around at night getting wet.
Well, where is this newly awakened individual? Or are you asking us to believe that just as miraculously fell back into a coma? Sometimes they just fall asleep again. Just then there's a crash from inside the house. Nice. Agnes turns and runs to the bedroom, followed by the assembled crowd. The door opens to reveal the old man sitting up in bed.
What's going on? Where am I?
Packy and Watson look at each other.
Sometimes they just wake up.
Agnes's house, night. An ambulance pulls away, followed by one of the two police cars. O'Shea is sitting in the back looking like a criminal. Watson and Agnes stand together on the porch as the policeman and Packy walk towards them.
What type of phone is it?
What?
Well, seeing as how there's no public phones that work in the village, you must have bought yourself a mobile. What type is it?
It's a hands-free one.
It might be an idea to let certain people see you with your new toy. I don't want to be coming on all stupid and sergeant-y or anything, but I'd hate to see a perfectly good gamble messed up because of a silly little loose end.
Fair enough, Bill. Thanks, and sorry about earlier.
The policeman drives away. Packy walks over to the two women.
Is this what I have to look forward to every time somebody wakes up around here?
You're staying? What about America?
I'm getting too old to be a shadow. I might just stay around here and try to cast some of my own.
The doctor drives off, leaving Agnes and Packy alone.
So what now?
Jesus, Agnes, once you start asking questions, you just don't stop. What now for me is I'm going to get some sleep, and I'd advise you to do the same.
I don't sleep.
Well, maybe it's time you did.
Then what?
Well, then you wake up.
Everything's going to be different, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing you can't handle.
I won't forget what you've done for me, Packy.
Yeah, you will. See you in the morning.
Packy gets into his van and drives off as Agnes goes back into her house, has one last look around and gets back into bed. As her eyes close, the screen fades to black. Hospital, morning. A young girl wakes up to find a doctor sitting asleep in the chair next to her bed. She looks at him for a few seconds until the doctor opens his eyes and smiles.
But where is this?
It's a place for people who need to sleep for a long time.
What am I doing here?
You're sleeping for a long time.
Who are you?
No one you'd remember, Agnes. No one you'd remember. She was in the coma all the time. She was the one. That's the whole point of the whole story was her in the coma.